Hi friends, welcome. Recently I was revisiting Plato's Allegory of the Cave. Plato, the Greek philosopher, lived from approximately 425 to 350 BC. And in his allegory, it's a conversation between Socrates and Plato's brother Glaucon. There are cave dwellers who are chained to a rock in a cave below a source of light that is streaming in the sun, so they cannot see the direct sunlight. And their only representations of things that are going on are shadows that are these figurines that are marched behind them and illuminated by a fire onto a rock in front of them. I'm paraphrasing this as I've interpreted this story. So they see these shadow figurines displayed in front of them, and that is their notion of reality. And there are contests and awards and social benefits to memorizing when and where which figurines are going to be broadcast on the wall in front of them. And people can climb in social hierarchy based on their acuity and awareness of how these figurines are displayed, what time of day they're displayed, which figurines are going to show up, etc. So social cachet and power is directly attributed to one's knowledge base and awareness of when and where and which types of figurines are going to be broadcast in the cave. So right there, that's the scenario. And then Plato goes on to say, what if a person from the cave was put on the outside of the cave in the direct sunlight? Well, that person would be blinded by the sun, would not be able to see it all for a while, but slowly there would be an acclimation where the person would see reality in the open sun and the world, the real world, as it were. And along with that would be aware that the world from which they came, the cave, was or is a false sense of reality. These people are chained to a rock in the cave, seeing representations, shadows of figurines behind them, and that's how they climb in social rank and surround their whole society around that. And it's totally bogus. It's a totally false scenario. So then Plato goes on to say, what if that person returns to the cave and informs his or her people that what the real world is, and that they are essentially living in a false reality. Oh, by the way, this person's eyesight who returns is damaged from the light. They've been able to see, but their eyesight has been damaged. And then, so Plato goes on to say, what would be the reaction of the people in the cave if the person who came back wished to say, no, you've got to go. Like, you've got to go check this out and see what's real. What's reality out there? And he suggests that that person may be murdered. You know, would not be permitted to take anybody out of there, because they'd say, you know, you went outside and you come back with damaged eyesight, talking about this real world and reality. We're just fine with our reality down here, looking at shadowed figures of figurines illuminated by a fire behind us as we're chained to a rock. Wow. You know, right away, as I'm reading it, of course, the first thing that comes to my mind is that kind of sacrificial lamb theme. And of course, the life of Jesus really comes to mind as someone who spoke a certain truth and was crucified for basically just being a good guy. It kind of reminds me of where Plato was going with that, which was really interesting considering Plato wrote that about 400 years before Jesus was born. So that's what I got from that. Of course, Socrates, in a way as well, Plato's mentor, was also a martyr, sacrificial lamb, if you will. Socrates is often said to be the kind of a martyr for education. He was educating the youth of Athens, and was seen as a heretic by the powers that be, as asking too many questions, and of course was poisoned with hemlock famously. So very interesting. Those are the first things that come to my mind in reading that, about the person coming back from the sunlight to their people, and then the people saying, like, no, like, you're not taking us, and we're gonna end your life if you threaten to, despite this person wanting to free their people with real knowledge and advancement. The whole allegory of the cave suggests that societies and people are so caught up in their three-dimensional rat race and world. And I mean, I believe this even today. Just read our stupid news cycles, and it's the same thing. Even in our modern society, one might argue that we're looking at false representations of figurines broad shadowed on a wall, when we really don't see the bigger picture of things, of life, of our place in life, of our place in the universe, of our place with each other. And one can go through their entire life caught up in that without really seeing any notion of freedom, of knowledge, of understanding. Of course, in Platonic thought, the freedom was the awareness of what was called forms, which were philosophical forms as far as universal truths that Plato and his school of followers subscribed to. So someone who did not see these forms of philosophy was essentially living in darkness, looking at false images. But the same concepts apply today. And it's really a cool story to read. I highly suggest you read the Allegory of the Cave. It just takes about 20 minutes to read it. Along those same lines, or somewhat similar, I've been thinking recently, I don't know, just been in a pattern lately of catching up on sleep or something, getting a lot of sleep lately. Maybe it's midwinter, as we're in the early March right now. And been sleeping a lot and been dreaming a lot. And it's really cool to remember our dreams first thing on waking, because our memories we have like a flash kind of memory. We have a longer term storage memory, and then we have what I refer to as a flash memory. This is scientific as well. The deeper memory, and then this kind of compartmental memory that's very surface, and it allows us to do things like very quickly, but then it gets erased because there's only so much room in there to get flushed out. And if you have a dream and do not go over the dream immediately after waking up, either through thinking about it or perhaps writing about it, it's gone forever. And because it's in that flash part of memory, I've read about this. And if we go over a dream and revisit it upon waking, then it gets stored in our longer term memory in the brain, in those areas. And then you can access it later on. I've had a couple cool dreams in the past couple of days, so I've made a point to wake up and really go over those before thinking about, oh, what have I got to do this morning? And, getting up and just, whoosh, and then it's gone. And then, the next day you're like, oh, what was that dream? Well, forget it. You can't access it. So it's really important to go over those again. So recently I've been thinking about memories, like real memories we have compared to dreams, because a memory of something that we really experienced in real life is not real anymore. It's just something we have in our mind, or maybe we can share it with another person who shared it with us, and that's what makes relationships and families and friends so enriching too, isn't it? That we can go over shared memories together. It's part of our human experience of having close relationships. To me, it seems the same as having a dream and recalling a dream, because in both cases, there's no tangible reality. The moment's gone. The fleeting moment is past. Yet the accessing of that thing is the same in the memory. And that's the interesting thing about the connection of reality with dreams. It reminds me of Plato's allegory of the cave, insofar as it's kind of like, if you can think it, it's real, and in the dream state, the dream world kind of begs the question, in some reality, in some dimension, are those dreams we have real, in a word? I don't know. That's where I'm going with that. Plato's allegory of the cave, dreams versus real memories, both things that you cannot touch anymore, but they're things that are just living in our memories to access. I look forward to hearing some of your coolest dreams below in the comments section. And thanks for watching.